Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, in the second part, it continues, and I have my wet grinder. I'm showing it here, the WG250 now. I think I've already sharpened a number of knives for 14 days. I did it by hand before, and I was already annoyed that I didn't do it earlier, because of course it's much faster, much more comfortable to sharpen with this part. How to do the whole thing by hand. And in the second part today, I would like to introduce or show you how I sharpen a knife. And I got this 123 sharpener from the company Tomek, because it comes with the device and you can then transfer it yourself. But I don't think that's the yolk of the egg. And that's why I don't grind that often, because I think it's quite annoying. And with this part here, the setting is really easy, and I'm going to show you that now. And I've already sharpened a few knives last week. And I'll show you again what experience I've gained, how I do it and how I sharpen a knife. And it's actually relatively easy and good, and it's a relaxed thing. So the first thing we do is I've already put the machine into operation, and I've oiled the leather pulley here with oil and then put a little polish on it. Then we fill up the water container for the first time here. It's not a big dirty thing at all, because I let it run relatively slowly. And you have the option here. There is a crack mark, what you should fill maximum. I'll turn it on so you can hear it. And you can also hear, I can run my finger on it. It runs really quietly. There's no water running, nothing coming out, and it doesn't make any noise. It's now loosely here on the table, so you can get a feel for what it's like from the vibration, etc. Because I'm really very satisfied so far. So in the first step, I'll show you how I evaluate sharpening a knife. And you can sharpen knives with different angle grinds. Normally, most knives are sharpened at 15 degrees per side, then they are 30 degrees, if you imagine it that way. And that is a compromise between sharpness and stability. Now it's like this. The steeper you make it, assuming you make 10 degrees, then you have 20 degrees, then the whole thing becomes even sharper. The only problem is that the blades break quickly. I am now making a standard household knife, and I got it from a well-known knife. They're not that great, and we'll look at that first. We'll just put a macro lens on it, and then I'll try to show you what I mean. When you should sharpen a knife, and that's how it is, I'll get one, and that's the edge of a knife. If you look very closely at it, you can see some real holes or tears in it. Then it makes sense to sharpen an edge again. So that means if it's a picobello, you can sharpen it nicely again with the bedding steel or with the bedding stone or with a diamond stone, then it's no problem. But if it has really real holes, etc. in it, then I would do a basic grind. I would like to show you how it works now. If I've done everything correctly, it sees me completely blurred, and there is now a macro lens on the main camera, and I'll go all over it with the knife and see if you can see that. On the video, I'll do that. I think I still need it. Maybe you can see it. I'll go really close. I'll get another light source where I illuminate from behind so that maybe you can see a little better what I mean. So now I have a light from the back. Now let's take a look. I have to look. It's not that easy now. I hope you can see a little bit of what I mean. There was something, very light shadows that are in there. And now I always do a basic grind here. Now I first do the basic setting, and I actually do it so that I set the machine as low as possible. Because then you have it easier. If you turn it in like that, you practically turn this stop so high. And in the variant, when it's at the bottom, it's easier to turn it up like the other way around. Now it was a bit too much like the other way around, that you put the whole thing down again. So the first thing I do now is I make the stone a little rougher, and it doesn't take away much material. And you have the option, if you want to make a basic cut like this so that it goes a little faster, this sharpening stone is there. So it has a relatively coarse grain and a fine grain. And I am now preparing the stone so that it takes more material first. It's very simple. I take it and practically pull it back and forth over there, always moving it nicely, trying to make it as flat as possible. And move evenly so that it wears evenly. So, now I have prepared the stone first. Let's take this setting gauge, the 123 from Tormig, which is relatively light. I'll show you how it works. I'll clip it up there and put it on the stone here. So I have to go a little higher on it. It lies clean. And now let's do the following first. Now let's take this holder from Tormag. I also took this holder with me because it has the advantage over Record Power. At Record Power, there is a narrow holder and a wide holder for knives. And at Tormag here, there was only one. So I liked it very much because it saves money again. So you do the whole thing like that. You put it down. This one clamps it in. I'll show that it's parallel to the blade and tighten it to make sure it's tight. So now you take this here, hang it up there, press it down like this, and that's practically the angle like this. I'll hold that. If I have that, I'll tighten the screw here. So good. Now I'm taking the knife away. So, and now I'm going to push this down and turn this up. Now you can see here, I hope it's clearly visible on the camera. I have a scale here on my side, which is now at 8 degrees or whatever I turn it up until I have 15 degrees here. This is the case. From the side, it is really 15 degrees. Now I'm securing this with the screw here and taking this out. Then all the settings are done like that. We'll start grinding, and I'm putting glasses on to be safe. So now I'm going to turn on the machine, and now we're just going to do this. We put the part up there like this, go in with the knife like this and pull over evenly, and we turn the last piece around so that the tip is there. So I do this now per silk. So I always do it like this, like 4 times, and then come to fine grinding. Three, 4. So now I'm going to go over here and do the other side. Here the knife sets on and pulls it around like this. Always make sure that you work without pressure. So just put it on and pull over. You don't have to press much. 2. 3, 4. So I put the knife on its side. Now I do the following. Now I prepare my stone so that it is very fine with this fine side again. Pay attention to it. Always pull over it nicely and evenly. So, now I have prepared him so that he is fine. Now I take my knife again, and now I do the same thing again. Pull it through like this. At the last moment, I pull this around. So I'm doing this 5 times now. Now I turn the knife like this. The camera briefly went out, but I hope it will last 5 more times on this side. One, two, two. Yes, that's fine. Now we have made a basic cut of the blade. That's about 20% of the sharpness, and the rest, the remaining 80% of the sharpness you get by pulling it off. But we have to make a side change. I'll change the cameras briefly. And then I'll show you how it works. And then the knife should actually be sharp again. Remove the knife from the holder here. Then I'll turn the machine on again. Then I'll take this polish that was included. I'll take a hazelnut anyway and break it up like this. It doesn't have to be that much. And the actual sharpness of the knife comes from the peeling. They say 20% about the grinding wheel and then 80% over deduction. Now I do the following. Now I take the knife and just pull it off 3 times per silk. So it's such a value. I found it out for me in the 14 days. That may be different in your case, or maybe you do it differently. So for me, it's the same with the knives I've sharpened so far. Shown to be very positive. So now it's subtracted. Now we're doing this famous paper test. I get a piece of paper. Now I hold it in the camera and you can see it. That this comes for a kitchen knife, comes out of the camera well, is damn sharp. And it was pretty dull in the beginning, and now you can use it well again in the kitchen and work well. So here you see it again. Maybe you can see that it comes out well. Here I'm also showing a small knife so that you can see that it works with the holder. And wir schleifen auch noch so dann Tremis und die Seite hier. So, then the stone is prepared again. We let streams continue to run, which can fall. That's enough, and again. Then the other side. So let's pull the whole thing off right away. And then let's look at the sharpness of what you can do if you don't have this teaching of Tormek. This 123. To check the angle, you can paint the edge blue, and when you practically grind it over the stone, you can see whether the color is gone, and then you can also see it. Having the angle the same over the entire surface would be another possibility. So if you don't have this teaching from Tormek here, of course I don't need it, because with the teaching it works really flawlessly. Here I show again the sharpness of the knife on my fingernail. And if you walk over it like this, you can really see why a white coating comes off. So you can see the sharpness of the knife. I now take another sheet of paper and then I would like to draw the sharpness again. Here you see this here once, twice ups, 3 times, 4 times. So you can see the knife has become quite sharp. So I'm very satisfied with the machine so far, and the results have been very good. So I'm now back in the house and have brought mask knives for sharpening. That you can see a difference, because the first knives were so simple, a kitchen knife. Now I'll show you the stall again that I have ground so that you can see the sharpness here. I'll show it here where you can see it is, of course that's another number. And you can already see that the knife is bent, that the knife also has the quality that must be sprayed. That you can also get the sharpness into the knife. So I think you've already seen that it's a completely different number. Yes, that was the first step and how I sharpen my knives. I hope you enjoyed it. In the third part, I will make the piercing bag. Then I will show you how I do it. I haven't done it yet, but I will still do it. And I will continue sharpening a few knives because I have found that this is a really relaxing job. It's really fun in the evening to come down after work. It's optimal to do something like that. And with plenty of money on board, and you can sharpen your knives at any time. And since I cook a lot, it makes a lot of sense for me that I do it myself, because the knives are constantly sent away, doesn't have to be. So in this sense, I would like to thank you again for watching. I wish you a nice evening until next time. Take care and ciao.